We're going to go now. Hey, Anthony, great to see you. Wait.
Hey.
All right, then, of course, the screen. Anthony will be here. He'll be here in a couple of minutes. He's stuck in traffic. Thanks for watching No Vacancy Live.
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching No Vacancy Live. Of course, I'm Glenn Hausman, your fearless host for this next hour. And I got with me right now Chris Green, CEO of Chesapeake Hospitality. You know Chris because he's on the show all the time. Plus, he had that Badass magazine cover last month. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm working on my modeling gig. So very short-lived. I promise you that. So.
Keep working, brother. Keep working. So, all right. So, listen, man. I was on with Delta Airlines today. I gave them a call. I was fortunate enough to have an event that I have to attend after another event. Haven't done that in like a year and a half. So I had to change a flight, and they had a hold time of 2 hours and 15 minutes. But they would call you back. I'm like, I don't know whether or not to be upset about that or really happy about that. How do you feel?
I mean, they're like everybody else. They're trying to build back staff as volume builds back. I was looking before the show. We've been running about 74% of 2019's TSA volume. Mm-hmm. But if you look at the routes that are back in place, they're still about 65% of the 2019 routes that are flying. So capacity, they're over capacity. The last 4 weeks that I traveled, I was on full planes every day.
Wow.
Which is fine, but the routes are missing. There used to be a 6 a.m. out of Jacksonville to Dulles, and that's not here right now. So when those open up and when they get the support center staff back, we'll see that starting to happen. The problem is we know, and we don't want to belabor it again, labor challenges. It's just tough.
Right. And we will get there. This will work itself out at some point. But Chris, I'm very excited about where we're going to be headed to and how things are starting to shape up and how things are bouncing back in such a meaningful way. And one of the ways that I really want to do that is talk about where we're at with investments and stuff like that. And that's why we're going to bring on our first guest. And for those of you who are joining us just now, don't worry, Anthony will be here in a couple of minutes. He's in this traffic situation, racing to get home to his computer. And then we'll have 20 minutes of him adjusting his camera. So stay tuned for that. That'll be really exciting. But we'll bring you on to the show right now Samantha FIsher, Chief Investment Officer with Island Hospitality Management and Chatham Lodging Trust. Samantha, welcome to your first appearance on No Vacancy Live. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. This is exciting and happy to be here for the first time.
Well, I'll tell you what's exciting is meeting new people in this business. After being around for almost 30 years, it's very rare that I get to meet new people who are in such incredible positions in this. So it's an exciting day for me. Samantha, let's get everybody a little figure out who you are, what you do, and all of that. Tell us a little bit about Island Hospitality Management, Chatham Lodging Trust, and how the heck did you get a job at 2 different companies?
A lot to answer there. So actually, I as well have been in the business for about 20 years now. I'm not sure how we haven't come across each other, but started my career doing hotel brokerage, doing investment sales. Spent most of my career out in Los Angeles working at JLL, and then most recently Hodges Ward Elliott, and moved back to my home state of Florida about 3 years ago with HWE at the time. And then the pandemic hit, and I was, had some family circumstances come up, and really sat down and thought about what I really wanted to do for the future. And it just so happens to be that my dad is in this business as well and has been for the past almost 40 years. So he actually started this company that I am now working at, Island Hospitality and Chatham Lodging Trust. And he called me up back in March and said, I think it's time. I need help. We've got to grow. And it's time we work together. So it's been a long time coming, as most people would think and would say, and very happy to finally be here in this new role for Island, which is trying to grow Island as a true third-party management company. We have managed for others in the past, but it's been more organic, relationship-driven, without anybody really out there on the front lines making these connections and relationships.
So they are 2 separately held entities, correct?
They're absolutely two very separate entities. Island Hospitality is the private management company that happens to manage everything for the public company Chatham. And again, we manage for others as well. And the point is to go out there and let people know that we don't just manage for Chatham, and we are a real third-party management option.
Right. Chris?
No, I think it's great. I have the utmost respect for Island Hospitality. They do a great job. And we were talking before we got on. Roger Pollock is a friend, guy that I knew that I really respected, who is going to be retiring here soon, but always a great face for Island and everything that they do. So I'm a big fan of the company, and it's good to see they have strong leadership and investment. It's a competitive landscape, right? We're out there all competing for those third-party contracts. But the neat thing about our business, Glenn, is there's so many, while there's 150 plus third-party managers, we all do have our different DNA. So not every manager is right for every deal. I'm not right for every deal. Island's not right for every deal. We all have a spot that we fill. And I think it's great to have people out there actively doing this. So welcome to the field, Samantha. It's awesome.
Yeah, and Samantha, I think that's a great point that you make. You've got to know what you're good at and really focus on that, particularly these times. Hey, you're into the President's Inns. Look at this beautiful one in Fort Lauderdale over here, where I unfortunately am not at rainy day Long Island today. But Samantha, what is it that you like about your focus as a company, and why have you chosen? It looks like you're really into extended stay beyond Residence Inns. You're into water walks, those types of products.
That's right. I mean, you can take a look at our portfolio, and it's very obvious that we are predominantly Marriott by Residence Inns and Hilton Homewood Suites. So a lot of our product is extended stay, and that is really truly our DNA. But I've also grown and now manage a handful of other brands as well, but definitely in the high-end limited service space. We do and have managed some full-service hotels because ones with not a whole lot of meeting space where we feel we can really run them like a limited service property. So owners like that very much, because that just helps the bottom line, which we all care about. So we know what we're good at, and we're going to stick to what we do well. And there is a ton of appetite on the investor side to get into the limited service space and the extended stay. It's very clear that through downturns and pandemics that the limited service extended stay models, although obviously dip, but do not have take much of a hit as these large full service properties do.
So, Chris, this is fascinating to me because they got one very specific focus. You have a different focus out there, right? I was recently down with you in Florida shooting videos at a Crown Plaza. Of course, you have the Showboat. You're developing the Hotel Marcel, which is going to be a tapestry collection. You just opened the Peregrine in Omaha downtown, a curio property. So it's nice to see that you all could be like complementary in what you're doing, right?
Yeah, I mean, and there's a lot of companies like that. And so we are completely different. We're full service, upper upscale. And for all the reasons that Samantha was sharing about how there's so much appetite in the extended stay and that marketplace, there's also a tremendous amount of opportunity on what I do, because as people move away from DoubleTrees and Hiltons and Wyndhams, that there's fewer and fewer of us companies that are built specifically to run big box hotels that do group, and that's how we were built. We're built to run a 300-room Hilton with 25,000 square feet of meeting space and F&B, because those buildings aren't going away. Some of them are. They're going to get converted into, a multifamily, whatever. But the ones that remain that need to be run need somebody that's got experience in running them, and that's what we do. It's just different.
Yeah, that's right. So, Samantha, let me ask you, you're tasked with basically getting this whole third-party management company thing off the ground, making deals. How do you even do that? What is that day one like for you? Because it seems to me something that's insurmountable. Chris, you've been through this a long time already with a long-term company, so it'll be interesting to see how different your points of view are. Samantha, how'd you get this thing started?
It's quite the challenge, and it really continues to be and will be, honestly. But however, we are positioning ourselves a little bit differently, where I'm not going to go out there and become a third-party manager for a lot of one-off or onesie twosies type of owners. We're trying to really partner ourselves with strong institutional owners that want to bulk up and acquire many limited service extended stay properties. So, looking for maybe a half a dozen or less new clients. We already manage we have 4 clients right now. So, we don't want to be too big to lose focus and on our clients. So, given that I've been in the hospitality business technically all my life, but really working for the last 20 years, I have built some meaningful, deep relationships with a lot of these institutional guys out there that are looking to acquire. So, it was a very natural fit for me to be able to pick up the phone and call these people that I have been working with on the other end doing investment sales to now try and partner with on the management side.
Right. That's interesting. So, Chris, it's just that easy knowing who you are and picking up that phone?
I mean, this is actually a great comparison and contrast between what she's doing and what we're doing, because most of our clients are high net worth or one-off investments. People, our biggest client has 5 hotels. So we offer boutique focused, personalized service to these owners. And it sounds really attractive, Samantha, to only have 4 clients. I mean, I've got 16, and our estate's nowhere near as large as yours. So we have a lot of people that we deal with, but that's just how we're built. And that shows you how diverse the management universe is, right? I mean, what she's talking about is institutional grade, multiple properties, portfolios. And what we're talking about is the high net worth family that wants a trophy property in Omaha, Nebraska, because that's where they're from.
All right, everybody, breaking news. Look who's here.
Hey.
Chris, I'm from Omaha, Nebraska. I was born there.
You are? Okay. Well, you got to come out to the Peregrine and hang out with me. So.
If Brooklyn was in Omaha, then that's where I would be from. But anyway, hello, how are you? Sorry I'm late. Hi, Samantha. The Bell Parkway traffic was terrible.
What?
Wow, it looks like you're still in the car.
Yeah.
I am. I told Glenn, I said, you want me to get to the studio or do you? He goes, whatever you want. So I said, I'll just pull over. But the traffic was a lot worse than I anticipated. I had a meeting in the city that I couldn't miss, and here I am. So anyway, I was listening to what you had to say, so I'm just going to be quiet and continue to listen.
Oh, that's really nice. So, to get everybody up to speed, Chris was just talking about some of the different challenges or some of the different ways that they approach business, and Samantha approaches their particular business. So, Samantha, I like the whole notion of keeping your company to the size that you can manage, only managing to handle as many relationships as that you possibly can. That's been a centerpiece of Chris Green's strategy. How do you make sure you stick with that particular philosophy as opposed to letting things get out of control by saying, oh, we'll just do this one more deal. We'll just do this one more deal.
Yeah, that's a good question. I haven't been faced with that yet, so hopefully we do get busy enough.
Yeah, right.
Where that becomes a reality. So we'll see, but we are really sticking to this plan and a business plan of going after and aligning with relationships that want to acquire a lot of hotels.
And it really is, whether you're in your business or a different business, it's stick with what you know. Right? It's stick with what you know, because once you get into something you don't know, if you don't have somebody on your team or you can get that asset, that person on your team quickly, your reputation suffers. And once your reputation suffers, everybody I talk to about Chris Green's company, everybody has wonderful things to say. It's just a fact. I'm not trying to blow smoke, but it's true. Everybody has wonderful things to say because you know what you're good at and you know what you can handle and you know what you can't handle. I just had someone say no to a huge piece of business, millions of dollars worth of piece of business. And it was a beautiful written letter to the person saying, we can't handle that kind of growth. I know it's a disappointment on both our ends, but we want to make sure that our clients are happy, and we just don't think we're going to be able to make you happy. Now, I know the company and I know they would do a good job, but they just felt that it was just a little bit, over their skis.
Yeah. Very respectful to do that.
Yeah. The worst thing that happens to companies is they lose focus. I mean, it's just the worst thing. And, you can't be all things to all people. It's attractive because, Samantha, I'm sure you are. I'm a deal junkie. Like, I get a call for a deal and I'm like, let's look at it. And then you get halfway down the road and maybe even the client wants you and you realize it's just not the right deal for you. And that's hard. I mean, we turn down as many opportunities as we as we even engage on, because they just don't all fit. My VPs of ops, they're all full service VPs. They're not professionals at Residence Inns. They're just not. So I would not be doing a good service to the client by taking on something I'm not good at. Could we do it? Are we hoteliers? Could we figure it out? Probably. But is it our key business? No.
Right.
Yeah. So, Samantha, you were saying that you really focused on extended stay. It's got great numbers. It's really been buoying the industry over this entire last year and a half. In fact, everyone who watches the show regularly knows this is a trend that was really emerging for a number of years. I love that you have confidence in this sector. How do you think it will shape your business in the future going forward? What are your particular goals at Island Hospitality when it comes to partnering with people on more extended stay properties?
Right. Well, we're obviously taking a big bet with the business corporate traveler. If you look at our portfolio, we are lucky enough that we do have a handful of properties in some leisure markets like the one behind you. However, we continue and will continue to focus on, the limited service extended stay in markets that require business travel. So we do feel strongly that business travel will be coming back, and hopefully, and we're hearing already from some of our properties and their customers and clients that they have long-term relationships with, that the travel and the meetings are coming back in Q3 this year. Once kind of summer's over, everyone's back in a real school program, and people are ready to hit the ground running, it sounds like.
Yeah,
I think it's critical, Glenn. I was thinking about this before we got on, that the leaders in our industry, that we're careful about how we drive the ship, right? You don't turn a big boat fast this way and that way. And it's very easy right now with all of the desire to pick up on the pandemic and go, well, employment's an issue and business travel's not coming back. And it's very easy to get swayed one side or the other on that. But really, you need to keep the boat steady. We know what we do for a living. We know what we're good at. And that boat's got to keep heading towards the horizon. Business travel is going to come back. Meetings are going to come back. Employees are going to come back. It's just we're in a very difficult time. We need to remember we went through something that none of us have ever been through. And until we get on the other side and can look back, we won't know what it was all about. I mean, we're trying to figure out as we go.
And I think as businesses in America, that we got to be really grateful, because we were talking to our friends in Canada yesterday, and they're still not back. They're still closed down. So, I think we've already forgotten that the rest of the world is still kind of where we were a couple of months ago. And we got to be grateful for what we have, and that we are putting people back to business, that we are able to buy some hotels, we are able to open some hotels, and people are traveling again. I was just in Times Square again this morning, and I'll tell you, it was busy, and it was real commuters, real business commuters. It wasn't leisure. It wasn't people that were just walking around the city. I really saw a real humming of people going back in the office. It was really nice to see. And those same people got to get on a plane and go do business meetings.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank goodness, and I can't wait for that to happen. So, Samantha, what is the investment atmosphere out there right now? What are you feeling from the people that are actually investing into buying hotels? One of the things that we've been talking about here regularly on the show is that there weren't a lot of foreclosures. There weren't a lot of distressed properties out there. So how are you seeing it? Where is your opportunity?
Well, there is a ton of capital out there chasing deals that have been hanging around, I would say, for the past almost 12 to 18 months now, looking for deals, whether at the beginning thinking that it was going to be the distress and the foreclosures, quickly realizing that's not happening. And, this capital out there chasing the deals, there still is not a ton of assets out there on the market for them to place the capital. So the few things that have come up, it seems like everybody is looking at and chasing all of the same stuff. Again, I'm focused in the limited service extended stay. There has been consistent profile of potential sellers out there, whether it seems to be mostly the developers that are just finishing construction or have just opened some of these hotels and I would call, top 25 type markets. that are looking to capitalize on what we're seeing now as being a seller's market with pricing
Right.
at the levels that they're at with the few deals that have transacted. So, we are looking at all of these properties that are currently on the market, using our relationships, talking to developers that do not have their property on the market, but we're trying to make something work, and just aligning ourselves with these institutional partners that are looking at all these deals.
Who would have ever
But
thought
not out there.
12 months ago it would be a seller's market?
Well, we were all wrong. I mean, I'm working on a piece for Hotel News. I write pieces once in a while, and the working title is "Boy, Was I Wrong." Just because, and I pride myself on kind of knowing what's going to happen. But we thought this was going to happen. We thought there's going to be distress. We thought there's going to be everybody was going to be unloading all these properties. It was going to be great. And now there's hotels trading above 2019 values with no T12 to support that. There's debt out there. There's money available that you wouldn't even think was possible 16 months ago. But it's all based on this thesis that this was just a huge pause. Nothing was wrong with travel prior to this happening.
Correct.
And there's no reason it shouldn't be just as great right after that, other than maybe a tiny bit of video meeting, which I think we're all tired of. It's going to go right back. So why would owners sell? And with the government assistance supporting them for the 18 months and they're making it through, why would they sell now? They can just wait till next year when so.
But I don't even think you could say you were wrong, Chris. It was just you had no basis. You had no starting point. It's like trying to bet on a fight or a baseball game, and you don't know anything about baseball. You don't know anything about boxing. We didn't know anything about this. We all know the hotel business travel, but we knew nothing about this. We knew nothing of how people were going to react. And I think this is the fundamental difference. One, we didn't know if we were going to have a vaccine and will people take it, number one. And number two, we didn't know how people were going to react. Were people going to still be weird about masks? I just came from breakfast on 59th Street in New York, and you wouldn't have known a week ago there was a pandemic. I mean, everybody was in the restaurant, everybody had their masks off, and it was very comfortable. So we didn't know how people would react. So it's really hard to say you were wrong, or it was hard to make that bet or to guess, because this is weird. This is really weird. The next time there's a pandemic, and hopefully it'll never be, we'll know a little bit better. Unfortunately, we'll have a little bit of a track record.
I'm retiring if there's another pandemic. I'm just
no, Chris. We need you because now you know what to do.
Well, maybe.
All right. So we're talking about investments in a sense when it comes to either buying or selling hotels, but there's also that building hotels component. Samantha, you've been talking to people with extended stay really taking off right now. There's a lot of opportunity to build these types of properties in a lot of great locations. Only rub, the way I see it right now, is the cost of materials and labor is starting to soar through the roof. Any observations you have on that? And at what point does the cost of replacement start to stop factoring into what you're thinking about here?
Well, that's exactly what we're up against, and how we're looking at some of the deals that have just opened or are about to open that are for sale. I mean, you're getting right up there with cost of replacement. So I mean, the raw materials and labor and construction is, as you said, skyrocketed. I mean, it's even over the past 6 months when we talk to our developer friends, when they tell us they bid something out 6 months ago compared to now, in some markets, such as Boston, it's, gone up about 40%. So it's unbelievable. So when we're seeing these deals that are new and looking at these price per keys, we're able to justify, hey, this, you're not going to be able to build this today. And, it's just, even with all this new supply and the new supply that's entered these markets, in the past, call it 2-3 years, there's going to be a pause for a while.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, interesting statistic here coming from the National, hold on 1 second. It's the National Association of Home Builder, the National Association of Home Builders. They're saying lumber prices have added nearly $36,000 to the average price of a new single family home. Think about what that would do to hotel construction when you're talking 3-4 story stick construction over there. Chris, you're nodding your head. How are you feeling about what's going on there when it comes to your net worth individuals that build these things?
I mean, it's honestly, it's fascinating. If you study our business, it's difficult. I mean, I'll tell you, we're chasing deals. We're trying to get stuff done. It's not easy because you can't buy anything right now, and you really can't build anything right now. You can. There's some fully entitled deals out there people are trying to sell, but you're trying to figure out how to build them in the future, or if it's even worth doing, and when are they going to land and open, and then what time in the upcycle, hopefully, that we're going to go through. It's very, very complex. It's not anywhere near as easy as it was to do a deal. Samantha, I don't know if you'd agree, before the pandemic. Right now, there's so many bizarre factors on trying to get something done. Do I buy old? What do I do? Do I buy an old full-service hotel and then sell half of it, make half of it an extended stay, and the other half apartments? I mean, it's just a lot of options that we didn't have to think about before.
Yeah, Samantha?
No, that's absolutely right. I mean, you're spot on. It's all very difficult to manage and to really foresee what to do with some of these new potential builds.
As I said to my daughter this morning, who's now becoming an adult, I said, "It's hard to adult, isn't it?"
Yeah.
Lumber is up. You can't find employees. Then if you do find employees, you have to pay them wages that a lot of hotels can't afford. You still have elements of the pandemic. Will inflation, or we're seeing inflation. So it's a very complicated process. It was complicated a year ago, but we kind of knew what we had to do, shut down. And now we just deal with the carnage of that. This is more complicated, or it's different complicated, because there are so many variables, because you're afraid you're going to miss something. Last year, you just want to survive. This year, you're afraid you're going to miss a deal. You're afraid that you have a deal, but you can't get it capitalized for whatever reason. So that's kind of what I'm seeing in the market, just speaking from what we're dealing with in our business, is where we're really looking at deals closely. But it's like you said, it's too expensive. We thought we would be able to get deals a little bit less expensive, and I said, well, should we get it now? It will be more expensive next year. So it's really, 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 it's very complicated. But I just hide behind Chris Green, and everything's okay.
Well, I mean, we're going to have to do a better job. We've never done a good job, of properly inflating our ADRs at the hotels. We've never kept up. We've always squeezed, and over from 01 through 09, we took out a lot of OPEX, and then 9 through 19, we took even more OPEX out because rate was only growing nominally. I mean, it grew, but it was only growing at the same rate as kind of inflation was growing. We've got to get, at some point, I feel like we as hotels need to reset our rate structure up about $50 per night, because otherwise we're just not going to be able to make it happen with insurance going up, wages going up. And it's just going to be super hard to make the financials work.
It's interesting. It's kind of what employees are doing to our country. It's like, you know what? We're just gonna increase our wages. We're just gonna demand higher wages. And you're seeing in Tampa, my friend just went from paying $17 an hour within a couple of weeks, had to pay up to $22 an hour because there were no people. And then he's starting to see people come. So it's the same thing. You got to kind of just make that happen. But that will happen when there's serious compression, because the leaders will do that, and then they just got to maintain that even when there's not as much compression. But nobody knows better than you, Chris. I mean, that's just an impossibility, because once your competition, who may not be as sophisticated as you in revenue management, decides to change their rates back, it's almost impossible. You just can't do it unless your competition does it.
Everybody listen to me. Read my lips. Rate does not create demand.
Right.
Everybody repeat that a million times.
No, Chris, I disagree with you, and I agree that if you lower your rate on Sunday, you're going to drive business.
Right.
That doesn't work either.
So, Samantha,
demand is demand. Demand is demand. If they're going to choose, the demand is the demand. If somebody is not going to Tampa, charging $59 is not going to say, you know what, I'm going to go to Tampa. I mean, if you do a blast sale, but I mean, if the people are coming, it really depends on, do you have a great offering, great service, great hotel, great location, great amenities, great leadership? They're going to choose you more than they choose the peer set. And how do you make sure that you're in front of them? So
there's a person staying in a hotel last night, and they were paying $8,000 a night. And somebody said to me, $8,000 a night, why? And I said, because they wanted to.
Right.
Because they could and they wanted to. You know what?
Yeah.
People didn't think rates like that exist. They exist. people want to travel, and Chris, I can't agree with you more. I've never agreed with you more that we need to maintain our price integrity. We need to push our rates. Because again, our prices, everything's going up. The hardware store. I mean, if you go buy a 2x4 or plywood or whatever, I mean, your hardware store. If you're a hotel, the engineer a lot of times go to the hardware store just to get things that they need right away, and your charges are going to go from $2,000 a month to $6,000 a month. It's crazy. It really is.
It's more serious than that. My bagel store raised their prices, so this is everywhere.
Your bagel store, the bagel store, yeah.
Well, maybe it was about raising prices. Maybe they were trying to keep you out, man.
But that's my point.
Glenn, you don't need a bagel, Glenn. You don't need a bagel.
Right.
My point is, and I know you want to get to Samantha, but my point is nobody else has to deal with what we deal with. The franchise model in the U.S. and all the different owners, and then all the different chain scales that confuses the consumer, and then all of the OTAs. The airlines. If you go on to United and you see $299, and you go on the OTAs and you can see the same flight, it's $299. We struggle with that, and we struggle with this mightily, and we're the only industry where people think it should be lower and it should be free, and why does it cost so much to stay at a hotel? We've got to change that equation. And listen, I've been talking about this for 30 years. It's just very complex.
Well, we all know that everybody has to be on that same level of thinking that you are. And a lot of those mom and pop businesses out there, again, we've talked about this a lot, are scared. It's their entire livelihood. So when you make decisions from a place of fear, that affects not only your business, but then all of the hotels in your surrounding neighborhood. Right?
Listen, I made a nice career over the last 10 years of going around the country, showing people how to drive rate and revenue management. And Glenn, I can't agree with you more. Fear is the number one thing preventing people from raising their rates. Fear. Yeah. We deal with it every day in our business. I deal with it every day in my consulting business. It's 100% fear. And when you teach them, and then they're like, oh my God, I've been losing all this money all these years. And again, when you're dealing with airlines, you're dealing with several different airlines. When you're dealing with hotels, you're dealing with what? How many hotels in America? 54,000?
Something like that.
I mean, yeah. So you're and there's a different level of sophistication depending on the hotel. Just because you have a nice hotel doesn't mean you know what you're doing.
Yeah, that's right. So Samantha, let me kick this back to you. One of the things that you offer over there at Island Hospitality, for example, is revenue strategy. For example, I don't know how much you could specifically talk to it, because obviously you've got the word investment in your title, not revenue strategy in there. But how important is that to what we've been talking about, what Chris is seeing play out in his neighborhoods, in his, where his hotels are located?
I mean, well, listen, I sit close enough to the ops guys to be involved in here, the conversations in the hallways here on revenue strategy, revenue management, and what we are doing now, as we always do, but really focused because we're seeing demand that no one expected. We're seeing, these seasonality of markets, for example, that once was Florida, where the season would kind of drop off at after Easter, where it's just continuing to go. So our revenue management is changing and constantly being looked at every single day on where and how we can continue to push rate, given the demand is there and every hotel is full, and more definitely focused on the leisure markets, and just trying to push as much as we can. There's a lot to juggle though on the brand side with pushing rate too much and then dropping below certain thresholds to allow redemptions to come in. So it's a little bit of a chessboard on this revenue management front, but we are very in tune, and it's obviously very important to us being owners as well, and knowing how that translates.
So Samantha, if I can, I'm going to ask Chris to explain that little thing, that little nuance you just threw in there, that a lot of people don't understand what you just said because it's so nuanced to our industry. So Chris, explain what Samantha just said.
First of all, I'm impressed, Samantha. That's one of those things that only the strong get figured out. But I mean, we call it the revenue flip, right? The flip when you hit the threshold for the brand on frequent traveler redemptions. If somebody's redeeming points, there's a certain threshold at every different brand. When you eclipse that threshold, instead of getting the base redemption rate, you get the full or a percentage of that day's ADR. And I used to, all our teams know, as you're not surprised, but you got to watch that, because if you've got 94.5% of your rooms occupied and your rate's $350, but you've got 50 people redeeming certificates, selling one more room, even if you sell it for $99, is worth 30 rooms times $300.
That's
so
fascinating.
That's called the flip. And honestly, if you take over, I mean, we're giving away the secrets now, but if you take over a hotel, one of the first things you can do to drive revenue is to make sure you hit those flips every day, because it's so much value. You should be teaching your front desk to say, okay, we got one room to go to hit threshold. You do not let a walk-in walk out of this hotel. You sell them a dumpster view room for $99, and that just turns everything over.
Another idea, Anthony, if it was me in that position, I might just go and buy a room under my mom's name and then
can't do that. Now you're breaking the rules. So we can't do that. That's the one thing you cannot do.
Makes sense that the legal team thought of that, because
that's illegal. But that's what's fascinating about this industry, Samantha. Like Chris said, that you even know that, just listening in the hallway. That's a pretty nuanced thing in our industry. But that is the thing that people lose money every single night, because they're not sophisticated at what they do, and they don't understand how to run their front desk. And Chris, that's why I teed it up to you, because as soon as you said it, I saw a little grin on your face. You're like, wow, she did that. But listen, I don't think it's the driving of the rate when we have compression. I think, to Chris's point, it's keeping the rate, even when you don't have compression, at a certain level, just so we can pay our bills, so we can pay our insurance, so we can pay our light bill. And that's the problem. People go so low, and then they realize at the end of the month they can't make rent. And what happens when they can't make rent? They decide that there's going to be one soap in the room, there's going to be one washcloth in the room, there's going to be one housekeeper cleaning 27 rooms, simply because they weren't sophisticated in the front of the house. I cannot tell you how many times I've met people that are so good at expense-driven, driving expenses down. They're really good at it, better than I am, but they have no clue how to bring people into their hotel. And that, I think, is what you're talking about, Chris, that's the problem in our industry. And I think you said 30 years, and I think we're going to be another 30 years. I don't know if it's solvable. Is it solvable?
Here's my quote, Anthony, and you remember it. I said it about a year ago. If you only focus on expenses, you'll get sales down to where you can manage them. Truth.
I think you did say that, Chris. I've been dealing with you for a year, baby. Oh, wow.
14 months, I think. So
14 months. Time flies when you're having fun.
So, Samantha, what do you make of what these guys are saying?
I mean, it's all absolutely true. And listen, we have such an owner's mentality in our DNA because of how we started. So, I mean, that is really what makes us different, is that we really do focus on not only the expense margins, but the top line and how that falls into our bottom line. I mean, that is where we're looking at that front page, not the back page. So it's ingrained in our DNA. It's why, on the REIT side, we have the highest margins out there for a limited service REIT in the business. This is what we do.
Yeah, and people don't understand when you do it the wrong way, what it does to morale, what it does to the pride of the people in the building, what it does to the pride of the people in corporate office. And so when you have, and people, this is another thing I've been talking about a lot, that people let good people go over salary. And like, if you're letting people go over a couple of $1,000s, you shouldn't be in business, because you're going to make that up. If that person's a superstar, the reason the superstars make the most money is because they're superstars and they deserve the most money. They can demand the most money. And I think that's another short-sighted thing in our industry. I see way too many people. Matter of fact, I talked to Chris Green, and he helped me through something a couple of weeks ago. And after we had that conversation, I was very clear that I needed to do to get this superstar into one of our hotels. that I think is a really important factor as well. And I know we're going off on tangents, but I just want to say that.
Well, that's what the show is all about, Anthony. Lots of delicious tangents to feast upon every single day here at 12 o'clock Eastern Time, Monday through Thursdays. So, Samantha, how are you feeling in your gut about 21, 22, and the opportunities for Island Hospitality and Chatham?
Very positive. We are getting more aggressive every day with our mentality on the future and where we need to be able to, acquire more hotels. So we are looking to grow, and I feel we will get there. And hopefully align ourselves with the right partners to do so. And let's get the market back a little bit more so the REIT can go out there and grow as well.
Excellent. Chris, how are you feeling different than you were 2-3 weeks ago?
No, I mean, you know me, I'm an eternal optimist, and I think, and I'm a long view guy. We're going to be fine. It's going to be hard. I do want to commend Samantha. I mean, they do have a great company. Like I said at the start, I really think a lot of Island and Chatham, they do a great job. They have great margins. So if you're in that space, you should definitely reach out to her and bring some deals her way. I'm just excited that we're turning it around. I had a talk with one of our GMs yesterday he was pretty down in the dumps. It's been hard. It's just really hard to get done what they want to do. They're not leading as much as they're working, and they want to lead. So I just kind of encouraged them that, listen, don't give up now. We're 99% of the way or 95% of the way home on this thing. I think by Labor Day, we're going to be back to seeing more people back to work. We're going to see business travel returning, and then we're going to be off to the races. And probably the biggest renaissance our industry's ever seen, because we're going to be just accelerating so rapidly that it's going to be just a lot of fun.
No, but I think you just said something, Chris, that's really, really important. I'm sorry. I think I cut off your last one.
That's okay. Go ahead.
I think what's really, really important is don't give up now. That goes for not only professionally, but personally. I mean, like, everybody's tired, man. I'm about as tired I've been since I left the Air Force.
You look great, dude. What are you talking about?
I'm mentally shot, but I have those conversations with myself every day to exactly what you said. Why are you giving up now, man? Like, why are you getting tired now for? Now you're getting tired? Like, now is when you should be really, really excited. But to your point, it's that last 2%. I always say going from a 5 in a hotel to a 7 or an 8 is easy. Going from an 8 to a 9 is really hard, and 9 to a 10 is almost impossible. And that's how I feel with how we are right now as people. It's like, okay, we went from like 3 and we're all kind of at a 7 now. Like, all right, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. But getting to that 8 is hard, and getting to that 9 is almost impossible. So I think that's the best advice you can give to anybody listening is don't give up now. Now is the promised land. Now is the roaring 20s coming back.
Yeah, it's really hard though right now. I'm hitting up against that wall every day, and I think it's taking as much gumption and grit as it was a year ago when we were really all wallowing.
But that's why they raised the prices on your bagels to keep you at a bagel store, so you don't get your energy down. You got to stay away from the bagels.
That's a really good point, and that's why I'm going to be switching onto a carb-free diet starting right after the show, including beer and other types of alcohol. Samantha, before we wrap up today, how could people find you? How can people learn more about Island Hospitality?
Well, you could always go to our website, islandhospitality.com, or chathamlodgingtrust.com, and that's where the best place to find us. All of our phone numbers, emails should be on there. And if there are any limited service, extended stay properties that you currently own and are looking to make a change for a manager, we're happy to give you our thoughts and see what we can do for you.
Excellent. Chris, how can we find you?
You know how to find me. Just look anywhere. I'm just kidding. ChesapeakeHospitality.com, or
it might be,
the cover of any random magazines that come out or whatever. So no. Listen, it was great being with you, Samantha. Congratulations, Anthony and Glenn. It's always good to see you guys, and it's good to be back. It's been a little while.
Yeah, it really is. Well, we look forward to having you both on again real soon. Thank you so much for being with us today. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Great seeing you.
Bye-bye. So, Anthony, as we come to a close on another show, Yeah, you're right about that, man. I've been feeling that long, tough slog, but I feel like I'm digging deep, dude. Like every single day I'm waking up and my head isn't in it. I'm getting stuff done every day, but I'm finding like I'm whining and complaining internally every single day instead of just being gracious about the opportunity to do well every day.
Listen, we've talked about this to nauseam on the show, and I feel like I'm becoming I hate people that preach about stuff. But what's really changed my life is healthy eating and exercise. Even though I ate like crap yesterday, but then I'll eat healthy the next week. That's the only thing that's keeping my head from being clogged. Is I got to move and I got to eat relatively healthy, and that changes everything for me.
Yeah, it really
does.
Yeah, I'm trying hard to like do more exercising now and eat less crap because we really got into that mode, especially during those cold winter months when this was just going on and on and on. So now I think we're coming out of it.
If you eat healthier and less often, you get to drink more, Glenn.
Hey, all right, excellent. I'm going to start doing intermittent fasting. Curtis asked, Anthony, what was with that car that blew up on your Instagram story? I got a little.
Last night, it's funny. I don't know if Glenn saw it, but there's a car. Who's ever Suzanne, if you can find it on my Instagram and then post it, that'd be great. But my friend Mark runs a company that does fabrications.
We lost your volume. Hello? Now we lost Anthony. How mysterious. We're never going to be able to find out what happened here.
Are you there?
Oh, hey, we can. You're back. We can't see you, but we can hear you.
I don't know what happened. He just screwed me up. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. So we'll let you know.
So
and
I don't know what happened.
Listening to this on the podcast version of the show,
so
nothing
if you can hear me, I'll keep telling the story. So
yes,
can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So what happened was he's doing something for Tiffany, and he said, "Hey, we're doing something outside Tiffany. We're fabricating something. Would you mind taking a ride with me?" I said, "No problem." It was late last night. It was like 11 o'clock, and we were driving, I think, on the Grand Central, and he said, "Take a picture." He goes, "The car's on fire." So I took a picture, and a car got on fire. As soon as the car was on fire, as soon as he said, "Take the picture," literally, I was trying to hit the video, but I couldn't get there fast enough. The car blew up.
Oh my God.
As we were literally driving past the car blew up. It was crazy.
Wow. That is pretty crazy.
So it's good to know that people actually look at my Instagram.
Yeah, man. Every 3 to 5 years, I see a car on fire. But it used to be a lot more in New York in the 1970s. It seemed like every day you'd go out. It was like Escape from New York and a car on fire back then, right?
Yeah, I can't hear a word you're saying, so I'm just going to nod.
All right. Yeah, and it looks so great nodding over here. Oh, there's the car.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, it was like we were going like 40 miles an hour, so that was like the timing on that was unbelievable.
Yeah, what a great visualization of a flaming car. You got a video? Nope. All right.
I can hear you now. All
right, let's move on. Let's get this show over with. If you're all right with that, Anthony, because you are shrouded in mystery over there.
Can you see me? Can you see me?
No.
You can't see me?
No, you're totally blank.
What the hell's going on with my life today?
Now I don't know. It doesn't really matter because we've come to another end of a week here on No Vacancy Live. Don't worry, tomorrow I'll be on with Craig Sullivan for Friday Night Audit at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, right on any channels that you are watching this show, affiliated with No Vacancy News Network. Also, Anthony, let's go into this. Boom, right over here. Catch our audio versions if you're not being able to watch this show every day. And we know most of you like listening to it on audio. Find us on Apple Podcasts. Find us on iHeartRadio. Of course, find us on Stitcher. And if you want to reach out to Anthony and I personally talk to us, we're at Anthony Hotels and at Traveling Glenn. Anthony, any final words before we depart into the weekend?
Yes, David Malilly, stop calling me in the middle of the podcast.
Yeah, it's amazing to me how people still don't know that we do this every day from.
And usually I'm not on my phone, so it screws me up when I'm on my phone. But anyway, so great show. Thank you, sir. Sorry I've been a little tardy.
No, it's all right, man. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend.
And be kind to yourself.
Hey, oh, yeah. And hey, don't forget, you've got one life, so plays on, Ed.
Be kind to yourself.
See y'all next week.